If you have ripped the carpet from your stairs and are wanting to replace it with a paint and stain solution, then this video might help you. We're going to go through the process that we did. There'll be a lot of time-lapse footage to save your time. And then at the end, we'll summarize and I'm going to tell you the 5 things that we learned in this process that will hopefully make your project smoother and your results even better than this. So hang out and let's get going. Hi and welcome to the channel. The project today, we have a set of staircase, or our staircase here that we have removed the carpet from, and the project is to stain it, make it look nice. And so yeah, you can probably see that we've already done some of the project, and I'll try to catch you up on that as well as give you a list of the tools that we've used up until this point. So let's dive in. The first thing that you want to do is you want to get your staircase after you take the old carpet up. There's going to be a tack strip, and there's going to be various staples, nails, whatever. You want to get all that stuff out of here, and some of the best tools to use for that would be some vice grips or pliers, a screwdriver, and then any nails that are sticking up, you can just use a hammer and a punch to kick those further in there. So once you get all the hardware out of the stairs, or the nail heads driven in further, you can use, I used a belt sander because it's what I have. I used that, and I think the 40 is what we got the best results out of there. I think I had a 120 grit on there, which was fine, but it seemed like I was shredding those pretty quickly. But I'm pretty happy with what happened, or the results that we got out of the 40, and it's still. We're going to go over it again with 120, but it's fine for for this process right now. Okay, so you can probably see that the risers here, my wife has already painted those. I'll have if you'll look in the description, I'll give you a list of the paints here. But these the paint here was Valspar. It came from Lowe's, I believe. And let's see here, the color. It's just let's see if we can zoom in there. Ultra white base, and I love that she does this here. It's got the date and what she used it for, which is pretty cool. Okay, so she has already taped everything off, painted the risers, and so the only thing that's left, a lot of the process up until now can be done in small bites, and it's not going to disrupt a whole lot of family flow. This next part, however, you want to wait until maybe everyone's gone, which is the case for me. Everyone's gone my wife and daughter are out of town, and my son, he's up on the other level, so it should not disturb his flow too much. They're going to be gone. I've got a timer here set, and you may can see there 3 days, 1 hour, 29 minutes, and 1 second until they are projected to return. So let's get started. For the staining process itself, after you already have your stairs pretty well sanded down and a lot of the paint removed, like you can see some of these edges down here that had paint. I've done my best at getting some of that off. I'm not going to get too worried if there's a little bit, because I feel like the stain is going to cover a lot of that indifference, and if not, it's fine. We're looking for a little bit of a rustic look anyway, so I'm not going to stress out about that. So you want some sandpaper to finish the stair itself before you stain it. So we'll start out. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some masking tape there and mask off the area. Then we'll sand, and then we'll use some tack cloth to clean up some of the dust from that. And at that point, we'll be ready to stain. I've chosen some Minwax here. The color Early American, it looks like this is going to match the color of the rail pretty well, and I think that's a consideration that you want to, or something that you want to consider, is that you don't have a whole lot of clashing at that point. Also believe the tile flooring down here. I think that'll blend in nicely with that there. So we got that. We have some clear semi-gloss Minwax polyurethane, a few foam brushes to put on the polyurethane, and some little tubs for the stain and for the poly. This is what we'll apply the stain with, and then these are what we'll use for the poly. So with that, let's go ahead and start taping off the stairs. Now we are done with taping, and I have to say I'm pretty happy with the results. I took my time and really got the tape in there good. So I wanted to show one tool that I didn't mention earlier, and I really just realized that it would help with this. Was this little thing right here? It's a Pampered Chef scraper that you would use, I guess, for cleaning off a baking stone, whatever. I really it was helpful in some of these areas right here, just kind of getting the painter's tape back behind the wood, so that there'd be a nice clean line and you wouldn't the stain's not going to bleed through. So a quick check of our clock here, just under 3 days remaining. We should be fine. I've cut up a sheet of 220 sandpaper, and we're going to start sanding these down, and then I will follow that up with some tacky cloth to clean the sanding off of it, and then we're ready to stain. So I'll put you back up on the tripod and speed it up, and you can take I'll meet you on the other side. So I'm trying to figure out my course of attack on staining. The stain requires 5 to 15 minutes after you apply it. You're supposed to go back and wipe off any excess. So I think I'm going to start at the top and maybe do 3 or 4, put the stain on, wait, remove the stain, and then move down to the next 3 or 4. And I think I have a total of 11 stairs. So I've got the rags there that I'm going to use to wipe off the excess here, and I guess the only other thing is just make sure you have a way out of the house or out of a window or whatever else. So I'm going to come down, and then I will go out the door there. So I will put you back on the tripod and see you in a few minutes. Okay, so I'm pretty stoked about this. Anxious to see how it's going to look. So I'm going to shake the stain up really good. Can you see that there? Dry that off. And I think we'll go ahead and pour the whole thing in here to make it through the top of the staircase. Okay, so now we're ready to start. We're going along the grain with the grain of the wood. Oh yeah, that's gonna look nice. And I guess you just gotta find your rhythm on this. And I'm done, except toward the bottom I started running out of stain. So yeah, I'm debating I may need to go to Lowe's and pick up another can. Otherwise, I guess I'm pretty happy with the results. There are some places on the side here where I probably could have spent more time in getting the original paint off. You know, I tried my best, but you know, I think overall I'm pretty happy with that. It's you know, the goal is going to be somewhat of a rustic look anyway. So yeah, okay, so I guess I'm going to finish this out. I'm gonna run to Lowe's, get some more stain, and get those bottom two stairs there. And then we just let it sit for 4 to 6 hours. We'll come back and we'll put a coat of polyurethane, and then we'll go from there. You know, I just can't tell what I want to do. That does look quite a bit lighter. We get darker as we go up. I think right around maybe that stair right there, it starts getting noticeably lighter. So what I think I'm going to do is maybe start right here. Start right here and do the bottom 6 stairs. And then we'll try to, I'll try to clean it off quickly after I do that so that it doesn't have long enough to sit, thereby getting darker than the top few stairs. So let me do that. Let me throw some more stain on those top 6 and we'll see what it looks like. Okay, so I'm done. I like that a lot better. I think it blends a little bit better. So the next thing to do is just wait for 8 hours and then we can start with the poly. Welcome back. So we've had about 16 hours of dry time, and the stain has had plenty of time to dry, and now it's time to put some polyurethane on there. I think what I'm going to do is take my tacky cloth, and I have been going up and down the stairs, so I'm just going to remove any kind of contaminants or dirt that small amount of traffic has had on these with the tacky cloth. So just kind of wipe that down. There we go. And then you don't want to shake the polyurethane like you might your stain. I think they don't want you to do this. I think it creates bubbles, and would be a less desirable finish, that you couldn't get those bubbles out. So I couldn't find any paint stirrers. I've got an old ink pen that I'm going to use to just stir this around gently, trying to move some of the contents on the bottom up to the top. And if you've never used polyurethane before, it's I got hooked on it a couple years ago. I had an old sailboat that needed the tiller on it had become deteriorated, and I found a new one online, but it was just bare wood. And so I got to go through the process of putting polyurethane on, and I think I went ridiculous. I think I probably could have used 3 coats, but it was so much fun I ended up doing, you know, probably 9 or 10. But anyway, so that's probably enough with that. We will pour up some of, here, do this here. Alright, that should be enough. Okay, I think the trick is to this is just, you know, not to put a thin coat on there, but not to put too many strokes in it. Just try to let it even itself out. Okay, so 10 more of these, and I'll meet you on the other side. We made it to the bottom of the stairs, and boy does this look nice. Just look at that color coming through. So we'll let this sit for 4 hours and then we'll come back. Okay, so we waited 4 hours for the poly to dry. Now it's time for the second coat. We're going to take our 220 sandpaper, sand this lightly, get our tacky cloth, clean that off, and then put the second coat on there. I'll do that individually as I walk down the stairs to reduce the amount of foot traffic that I'm going to put on the stairs. So it's really starting to come together, and I think it's official. I believe I have a favorite piece. I think it's this one right here. I like all those staple holes that have been filled in with stain, and it's just really nice the way that the poly has covered that. So we're gonna let this sit for another 4 hours, and at that point we will reassess whether or not we want to put another coat or call it a project. But man, that looks nice. Let's see here. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so stay tuned and I'll be back. Okay, this is the second coat. It has been here for, gosh, a little over 12 hours. You know, whenever we were supposed to, we could have painted, or we could have put a third coat on last night at 8, but it still felt kind of wet. So put that off, watched a movie, and decided to just do it this morning. So here's what we're looking at. And everything that I've read on the interwebs seems to suggest that you really want the third coat for durability sake. So anyway, with that, let's go ahead and get started on that one. Okay, guys and girls, this is 7 or 8 hours into the third coat of polyurethane. I want to take you up here, and I think we're about ready to start pulling off some of the painter's tape. So let's have a seat here, and let's see here. Can we do it here? Maybe try here. Sit there, and let's see about taking some of this off. And I think what you want to do is pull everything off from the top and then pull it out from there. That's going to keep it from ripping as much. So, I'm gonna have to touch that up there. Wow, that is looking really nice. Pull it from the top and just pull it out like that. That's all there is to it. Now we may come back and put some caulk in those gaps. I'm sure my wife is probably gonna want to take a look at that, and she's better at that than I am, so that may be something else that happens. But we don't necessarily have to do that right now. All right, there you go. So I'm going to finish taking all the rest of the painter's tape off, and I'll give you a final look here in just a minute. And here is the finished product. I'll take you down, and then we'll come back up and show you the top. I still think that this fourth tread right there with all that good stuff there may be my favorite one. So let's get you down here. And then take you back around. Let you see the white risers there. And aside from that one spot there where I hit some stain on the riser, it looks pretty good to me. I'm very happy with the finished product. So in the next clip, we'll summarize and identify what we did wrong, and maybe give you the information that you need to even have a better outcome than this. So see you in just a second. Okay, so the 5 things that we learned in doing this process. Tip number 1. You know, a lot of people will recommend doing every other stair, which allows you to still walk on the stairs that you don't stain. You know, there's some people that this won't be an option to do it any other way. If you've got, if there's absolutely no way that you can get your family out of the house, or find the time to do this where it's just not going to be too much of an inconvenience, you would have to do it that way. But this process, the stain, the paint, everything, you know, it stinks up the house, and so the less time that you can spend with that, the better. And so, you know, get the babies out, get grandma out, get whoever you know is going to be bothered by that out of the house for a few days, and try to get this thing knocked out in one sitting. Okay, so the tip number 2, the thing that we've learned, is that stain does not cover paint. You know, I'm very happy with the results that we have on this, but there are areas that if we would have done a better job in sanding the paint down, the stain would have covered. So don't just expect that the stain is going to cover any imperfections, because it's not. Okay, so the 3rd tip or trick that we would have for you would be to double check, even triple check for staples, nails, anything sticking out, because there's nothing more frustrating than being in the middle of a painting or staining project, or sanding even, because it tears up your sander. You're being in the middle of that process to find that you forgot to take out a staple or nail. It slows you down, and in the case of the sanding, it can really eat up your belts. Okay, so tip number 4 would be to make sure that you have measured the area that you plan to coat with either paint, stain, or polyurethane before you go to the store to buy products. You can see in my process that I did not buy enough stain and had to go back to the store. By the same token, buy extra foam brushes, buy extra, you know, the painting trays, and you know, you can either use them on future projects, or even just take them back at the end of the project if you haven't used them, and it saves you some time, you know, by not having to cut out mid-project to go pick that up. Okay, and the 5th tip that we have, and this may be one of the most important ones, is to really tape your edges well. Spend the time that you need to tuck in and get that tape flush with the surface that you're trying to protect. Otherwise, either paint or stain can bleed through and make your project not look as nice. So you're gonna have to spend the time doing it anyway. You may as well just do it right, and you'll be a lot happier with the results. And I think, you know, you saw the Pampered Chef scraper that I used. I was really happy with the results that it gave. So that may be something to look for there. So that's 5. That's all we've got. Thanks so much for watching the video. If you like this, please give it a big thumbs up, and subscribe. Consider subscribing. We have more videos coming up related to home projects and you know, budget projects. So it was good to see you, and hope to see you again. Thanks.